Hey everyone, my name's Christopher Shannon. I'm from Flowood, Mississippi, and I had the amazing opportunity to judge the Miss Tennessee America pageant in 2024 in Johnson City, Tennessee. So now it's about time to have the next Miss Tennessee pageant. I just wanted to share my experiences that I had last year, and they're all positive. I had a great time. The Miss Tennessee organization is very organized. They actually asked me to judge about 6 months before their state pageant. We were actually on vacation on a trip to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, and I got the text in Morocco, of all places, if I would be interested in judging the pageant. So I told them, let me check my calendar and let me think about it, and I would get back to them because it was about a week of volunteering your time to devote to the pageant system. So when I got back, I decided I did want to judge it. I thought it'd be a great opportunity and a fun experience. So just like the pageant girls, your first thought is what I'm going to wear all week. So I went and bought some cool blazers and stuff to wear so it would kind of be more of a fun looking judge, I guess. Well, Joe Albright, the CEO of the Miss Tennessee competition, is the one that contacted me. So I was really honored to even be chosen to judge this pageant. And I told him I would be 100% fair. I didn't know anyone competing in the pageant. And I have about 35 years experience already in the pageant industry. So just a little bit about me. I was a local director in the Miss America pageant for about 5 years. And then I volunteered about another 15 years in the local capacity. I was a local director in the Miss USA system for 5 years, and then I started my own pageant system called the Miss Magnolia State Pageant in Mississippi that has grown into the largest pageant system in our state. We attract about 300 contestants at our 2 state pageants each year, and we've been recognized nationally by the Pageant Planet in the top 2 best state pageants in America. I've attended all the major national pageants in the United States, and I totally support all pageant systems. So I feel like I came into the pageant with an open mind and just to pick the very best contestant to represent Tennessee. And a little bit of personal information about me before we get started with our week in Tennessee. I've been a great uncle to a niece and some nephews while they were growing up. I love to travel. I love to go to Europe. It's my favorite place to visit. And now I am a dog dad to the most beautiful dog named Daisy. So don't get to travel as much because I just can't stand leaving her because I love her so much. A huge game show enthusiast. I've been on 8 different game shows. I've been on Let's Make a Deal 3 different times where I've lost 2 cars. I've never won on Let's Make a Deal, but it was a lot of fun. I've been on the Traveling Price is Right show 4 times and won twice. And we were chosen to be on a show called the HGTV Endless Yard Sale competition where we won the grand prize. And the last fun fact about me is I'm a huge toy collector. I have thousands of toys I've collected over about a 40-year period. I'm the owner of the Toy Vault Toy Museum in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. And I also do a YouTube channel called Value in My Toy Collection. So let's talk about Miss Tennessee. From June 17th to June 22nd, 2024, I spent my whole week in Johnson City, Tennessee. It was my first time going there. It's a beautiful little town. I got to judge 36 beautiful, outstanding Miss contestants and another 26 awesome teen contestants. I didn't realize this was going to be so difficult. These girls and young ladies were just so incredible, and there are so many that could do so great in the future. So I did have to provide my own transportation to get to the pageant. So I got into the Tri-Cities airport, and they took me to the Carnegie Hotel. This hotel was absolutely beautiful. It was historic. It was full of antique furniture. I actually got in a day early because I didn't want to be so rushed the day I had to be there. And the hotel was so generous to even sponsor the extra day I wanted to stay. So the hotel was all paid for. It was complimentary. I think they sponsored the pageant. All I had to do was cover my airfare to get there, which I didn't mind. And when I walked back into this place, it was just like stepping back in time. It was so pretty. And I was really looking forward to staying there. I was so excited I got there early so I could just kind of unwind, catch up on some videos I needed to make, and catch up on some Netflix I wanted to watch. I never get time alone, so that was a little sanctuary. So after walking around and exploring the lobby area of the hotel, and they also had a beautiful restaurant there, I decided to go on up to my room, and this is what my room looked like for the week. It was really pretty. It had nice furniture. You kind of got a feel of the old and the new combined. I really enjoyed staying here. I loved having that desk there. That was perfect. And I had a decent view of the street in front of the hotel. I had a couple places I could walk to eat, or I could eat in the restaurant the first day just because I didn't have my own car there. I just used an Uber to get to the hotel because they provide us transportation all around the town once the pageant starts. And then the college right next door is hosting the pageant. This is what the bathroom looked like there. I'm waving at everybody. The bathroom was really nice and spacious too. I know people like to see everything. I know when I watch videos, I like to see all the behind the things. And you notice there's a scale there. I did not get on that scale because they fed us so good every single day. And I just did not want to see the damage that was going to be done. This is what the view looks like from the outside. I kind of went outside to kind of check out my environment. And they had this fast food place there called Pal's. We don't have this in Mississippi. And the building was shaped like a hot dog and hamburger. So, of course, I was attracted to go there to see what it was all about. It was not a walk-in restaurant. It was a drive-through. So I had to walk up to the drive-through. And when they were getting my order together, I had to stand over in the bushes. It was hilarious. Nobody knew I was a judge at that time. And here's another place that was close to the hotel called the Cookout. This place was so good. I don't know if we have these in Mississippi or not, but if we do, I'm going to find one. It was so good. Went back to the hotel just to explore a little bit and just looked around. The furniture, the lamps, everything was so pretty. Those elevators had that old-timey dial that would let you know what floor you were going on. I really enjoyed staying in this hotel, and being that it was complimentary for a week was pretty awesome too. I'm sure it cost over $1,000 to stay as many days as I did. So very grateful for the sponsorship of the Carnegie Hotel to the Miss Tennessee pageant. Well, our official first day, I got to meet my other fellow judges and our judge's hostess and her husband. And then it was time to get ready to start judging 62 beautiful teens and Miss. Well, the second day I was there, I had most of the day to myself because our judges' orientation meeting wasn't until 4 p.m. So I used the day going over all the contestants' bios, kind of starring things I wanted to ask them, come up with some good questions for them. But they had given us these binders about a month before the pageant. So I've been studying these for about a month. No, I'm still a huge fan of the Miss America pageant, but my favorite decade of any were the 1980s, and I loved every single year. And when I found out I was judging with a former Miss Kentucky, Lynn Whitney Thompson, who's now Erickson, I was pretty excited. She was top 10 the year Vanessa Williams won. So I knew how she competed, and it was just going to be fun for me to get to hang out with her for the whole week. And we really connected, and we really bonded, and she's a friend I'll have for life now. I really enjoyed all the judges all week. Lynn was awesome, and then Terry sitting right there next to me. She was pretty cool. Muriel was awesome, and then Shravani and Dario. Oh my God, they were so much fun. We had such a fun week. We got to eat together all the time. We never really talked about contestants while we ate. That's not allowed. But we just enjoyed each other's company and talked about our lives a lot. And we just had a really fun time. We were all pretty good judging together. We didn't step on each other's toes while we were asking questions. Now, the first day they took us out to eat to a place called Cootie Brown's, and here's a picture of the food we got. So great. All the restaurants are so generous to sponsor our meals throughout the week. Like I said, just an amazing week with some amazing people. We judged the teen interviews, and these teen contestants were amazing. The Miss Tennessee pageant is in really good hands for the future because I was so impressed with so many of these teens. Here's another one of the great sponsors, Smoky Bones, that fed us one of our meals. I got something called a brisket sundae. I had never heard of this, but look how delicious that is. Just again, thank you for the sponsorship, Smoky Bones. Now, this is what the auditorium looked like when you walked in. They had these fabulous banners of all the contestants. The pageant was just so good to us. They treated us like royalty almost. We always had security guards around us, and they gave us a $100 gift credit at their merchandise table. That was great. And then they had this awesome silent auction to help raise money for the pageant. Can't remember if we were allowed to bid on anything or not. I don't think we were because I think contestants would be scared to overbid us. Well, every night before we had to go judge the pageant, we were always taken out to eat at a really nice restaurant in Johnson City. We were driven around by our judge's hostess and her husband, Mike, and the car was even sponsored. Here I am in one of my fancy jackets one night, Judge, and I really enjoyed that. They took us to this place called Yuimaru. I believe I pronounced that right, but it was like a Japanese restaurant. It was super nice. Again, another sponsored meal. So thank you guys for sponsoring our meal. And then this was at our hotel, going back to the Wellington restaurant, and we ate there several times. We would get to eat breakfast there every morning, and their breakfast was just spectacular. You could get omelets and just all your traditional breakfast foods, but it's just really nice. Just, again, such a great experience, and I'm so glad I decided to be a part of this. And here's my breakfast that morning. Look at that. No way to gain weight that week, right? And then usually every day when we sat down at night to judge, we had a gift waiting on us. We had some beautiful candles. They gave me a really pretty lapel pin. That was the Miss America Crown logo to wear for finals. And then another place we were taken out to eat one day was called the Southern Craft Restaurant. This place was beautiful. It was in a historic building. The food was delicious. Just had good company there with the other judges, and Kristen, our judge's hostess, and her husband, Mike. We just had a great week. And she told us we were a really fun bunch of judges, and she wishes she could have us every year, but have to have different judges every year to keep it fair for the contestants. And then here's a group picture we took. Our judge's hosting, Kristen, is over there on the right. I love her. She was so much fun. And then look at this food I got. Oh, my God. I got the best food all week. And then there we are again at the front of the building, just having a great time. And then here's a little bit of the scenery in Johnson City. Such a cute little town. I'm so glad I got to see this town. I might not have ever gotten to see it if I hadn't decided to judge the pageant. And then here's a picture of the car they drove us around in all week. Isn't that pretty cool? And they had a sponsor that donated that for the week just to take care of us. We went to the American Heart Association dinner where all the contestants were present, had light snacks, and we got to meet Miss Tennessee and Miss Tennessee's teen while we were there. And then it was off to the pageant to judge the teen competition and the Miss competition. Here's a picture of me in the program book with all my accomplishments there. And then we had to take a little selfie of all of us judges together. We couldn't take any pictures or even have our cell phones during the competition. We had to turn in our cell phones. We ended up choosing Leela Beatty as Miss Tennessee's teen. She was actually contestant number 1. It's kind of hard to win sometimes when you're number 1, but she really impressed us. And I got my picture made with her afterwards. And then it was time to go out again. And then we came back to judge Miss Tennessee. And we got a picture with our favorite security guard. And this time they took us out to another dinner in between the two pageants. Shravani's husband joined us for this meal. And it was fantastic. It was a Mexican meal in this beautiful historic building. But I'm embarrassed I can't remember the name of the restaurant. But it was so good. Here's a picture of the judges at their judges' table. I look like I'm about to be shot, but it was such a great judges panel. This is what their stage looked like. They had a fantastic opening number. I got to meet Miss Kentucky and Miss Nebraska after the pageant. And we ended up choosing a girl named Carly Vogel to win the Miss Tennessee title. The top 5 were fierce. I had a top 6 going into it. All my 5 were in there, and I like this other girl named Marty Sullivan. She was in my top 6 as well. But there were so many good girls at that pageant that could do well at Miss America. I hope they all keep going for it. I'm definitely going to watch it on TV this year and kind of see how they all do. I'm so invested in these girls. They were so great in the interview. Some of their talents were incredible. I know there were 2 girls that sang and played the guitar that I really wanted in the top 10, but they didn't make it. It was so competitive to be in that top 10 or top 12. These girls were amazing, and I wish them all the best in the future, and I hope they all keep going for it, and I hope a lot of them win Miss Tennessee in the future, and they get to go to Miss America. But I knew that girl that we chose, Carly Vogel, was going to do something at Miss America. I fought for her. I knew she was going to be strong. Her talent was incredible, And I said, let's see if we just chose the next Miss America, guys. So we followed her journey. I didn't get to go to Miss America to support her, but I stalked her online and watched everything. One of my fellow judges, Lynn Whitney Erickson, did get to go and support her. But Carly ended up winning the talent preliminary at Miss America, and she ended up placing as the second alternate. So close. I probably won't ever judge a Miss America pageant again, a state pageant, just because it's so time consuming and my life is so busy. And that would have been so awesome to have done it that one time and pick the Miss America. But picking the second runner-up to Miss America was pretty awesome. So I had a fantastic time. I want to thank Joe Albright and the Miss Tennessee organization for having me. It was such a blessing to be a part of your production, and I hope we did you proud. We picked you a great winner, and I just want to wish all the contestants this year the best of luck.